I decided I didn't like reading for one. It was one individual's fault, and that is William Shakespeare. Right. So when I actually got into reading books, it was always through school. And the very first book that they made us pick up was, I think it was Romeo and Juliet or Midsummer Night's Dream, one of the two.
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, you're like maybe 13 years old, which is just starting secondary school. And shoving the Shakespearean language down your throat is not the way to make a young person enjoy reading. So immediately I decided I hate reading. In a parallel situation, we were having Spanish lessons, seeing as we live in Spain, and our Spanish literature was similar. It was something like a book. I remember a book called Campos de Níjar, which is an incredibly boring book for a 13-14-year-old student. And García Lorca, which, don't get me wrong, is amazing poetry, but again, just too hard for, not too hard, but too dense for a young person that's never read before to enjoy. So right off the bat, I thought, I hate literature, I hate reading. It's homework, and it's impossible to enjoy. So I didn't read. Wasn't interested.
Yeah, I found schools still need to find a way to properly get children into reading, because I feel like, for example, Sunnyview, they do quite a good thing. They have the book club, but I feel like it's a very good thing, but that only accommodates the people that already like reading, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, there's things are slightly better now, at least better than they were in my time. I think they might be slightly better even than when you were at school, which wasn't that long ago, only 2 years ago. But now they're getting the young people, and when I mean young people, I mean they're 8 to 10-year-olds in primary, used to literature with books specifically made for their age. Things like the demon headmaster, is it called, something like that? There's quite a few young adventure type books that are aimed towards education, at least in the British system, that are fun to read, right? Sort of like, adventure type, maze runnery type books that I see our students read, and that helps get them into literature. So by the time they get into secondary, they're already used to not just holding a book in their hands, which might or not be the way to go, but also to read the language of books, which is slightly different to anything else. So I think that's improved a little bit. In my time, we had none of that. We just had directly into secondary, boom, pure literature, Shakespeare and Charles Dickens and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was the same. I don't think when I was in primary, I don't think we did have in year 5, I believe it was. We did have a period during the week where we went to the library and we picked a book and we sat down and we read for the whole time. But a lot of the times it was just me and my friends goofing around. And then I was the same in secondary. I remember when I was actually in year 7, I have no recollection of English. I don't remember who my teacher was, so I'm sorry whoever my teacher was. But I remember
what year was this?
Year 7.
It's year 7, right?
I generally have no clue who my teacher was. Actually trying really hard to think, but anyways. Then I remember in year 8 I had Mr. Edwards, who he was very good and very engaging. But once again, the books, they were tough pill to swallow.
What kind of books were you reading?
There was one book that we read in class which I really liked. It was about because Mr. Edwards is Australian, and it was an Aborigines, about an Aborigines tribe, which that was quite interesting. I think it was non-fiction, or maybe like I know
the
non-fiction bit.
They still read it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's I actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite interesting, but then we read A Midsummer Night's Dream, and wow, that was Like, I felt like I was having a brain aneurysm every time I was reading it. Shakespeare, like, I just find him hard to read.
I tell you, I mean, Shakespeare is amazing, but it's not for youngsters. Shakespeare's for pros. You know, you can't shove it down a teenager's throat. You know? I mean, I've never known what their intention is, to be honest, even. Right? I'm pretty sure any kind of literature teacher in the world would disagree with me. And there's probably a very scientifically sound and pedagogical reason for it, but I can't see it. So if you happen to be a teacher and you happen to be pulling your hair out right now, please write in the comments the reason why Shakespeare is taught in schools in the UK anyway at such an early age, because I can't see the point.